You always learn more when you fail at something you do when, it's smooth sailing. And so for me, every time that I've taken a hit or I've lost a business, I learn a lot in those valleys. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I take that time to rebound and come back, it's almost like when you cut yourself and you have a scar, that skin is actually stronger than your other skin. And so like every time I get cut and I'm down and I'm bleeding, I come back stronger. I have more tools in my toolbox.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Unicorn. I'm Jimmy Owens. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring a bell. If you work for a company or you're a business owner, be sure to leave a comment of what your company is and what you do in the comments. We'd like to start highlighting you on these episodes. All right. Our guest today, sorry about that. I'll do it again. All right. Our guest today, Daniel White with Bigger, Better Movers.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I have a few questions for you.
Let's
get
go.
started. Whew, I'm out of breath, man. I feel like I went up some stairs and I didn't.
All you do is throw a card.
That's all I did, yeah. I think I get nervous sometimes. Okay, so Daniel, pretty athletic guy, I think. I'm sure others do as well. Is curling a sport?
It's in the Olympics, so I've never done it, but, some would say that it is, so let's just go with yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to mark these off so I don't repeat.
It does take talent and skill, so, there's a
finesse.
Yeah, there's a method to the madness, so definitely, yeah.
I'm setting you up here, so
okay.
What about a game of darts?
Darts, there is a unique way to be able to do darts, so I think that people can improve on darts. I think if you can improve on something, you could probably sport. So yeah,
I mean curling's like darts on the ground.
Yeah, I've lost. I actually like darts quite a bit.
Yeah, darts are fun,
but I'm not the best at it, and so obviously I know there's people that are better than others and worse than others. So I'd call it a sport.
Yeah. Driving a car down the road.
I like to drive pretty fast, so it could be a sport to me. Whoever can get there fastest and first.
Yeah, and then race car driving.
There you go.
Is sport.
100%.
So I think it's just in the context of what we consider a sport.
Yeah.
I looked up what the definition of a sport, and it was like, is it competitive? So, anyways, fishing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've actually heard somewhere in Oklahoma they actually give out scholarships now for college to be able to fish. So I definitely say it's a sport.
I was gonna say,
and I'm terrible at fishing.
I was gonna say food gathering.
Is it?
All right. I told you I was gonna set you up. So, playing video games.
I do not play video games, but again,
is it a sport?
Some people do. Some people do.
Yeah.
I don't even own a game system, but some people take it very seriously. So, and again, I think if you can improve or get better at it, they're
by
better
the
than I am.
definition of the internet, it's a sport.
I guess so.
All right. So you played college basketball.
Correct.
Scale of 1 to 10, how competitive are you? 10 being the highest.
Currently or at that time?
Give me both.
Currently in sports specifically.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like in sports, I'm in an old man's league, let's say, and so I'm a 6'7" competitive on the old man's league. I don't want to lose, but I also understand.
So you play basketball right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we play on Sundays. So I'm a 6'7" on the competitive scale right now.
Do for exercise.
Somewhat exercise, but I still want to win, right?
Yeah,
if you're talking a little bit of trash or whatever, I'm gonna do what I can to make sure that you understand, my level of athleticism. But when I was in college, definitely a 10. And so it's kind of been dialed back a little bit because at the end of the day, what are we playing for? But if you start talking too much, I'll have to get out there and clean my shoes. And
you just play for the win rights out there.
There's actually like a championship. Like we just won a championship in the last league that we played in. So it was pretty fun. It was an old man's league. I hit the game point, so
old man's league.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 30s. But
30-ish.
Yeah, 30-ish.
Okay.
But no, we won the championship out there. When I say the old man's league, it's not just like old men, it's just over 25.
Okay.
Right? So it's kids out there. But when I was 25, the ability that I had to play basketball, we would have wiped the floor with everybody out there. But now in my 30s, it's competitive, I guess you can say. It's fun.
Yeah. That's good, man. What's your favorite thing about playing basketball? Because I'm not good at basketball.
Yeah.
You probably know that by looking at me. But Why? Like, what's your favorite thing?
I like a lot about it. Me personally, like I like playing defense. I like the ability to stop somebody where they are. Like as good as you think you are, I'm not sure I'm that much better. I'll get there before you, quicker than you, fast. Like the whole deal. I like the ability to like stop a man where he's at.
Yeah,
so
I just like the check part.
Yeah, I bet. You can't jump very high or anything.
Tackle you. Yeah. So, what about how were you at shooting baskets?
Decent. I shot over 50% from the field. My senior year, I shot over 40% from three. I'm not like a shooter by nature, but I can shoot. I prefer to drive to the hole, and rebound. I like the aggressive part of the game of basketball and the physicality.
Because I went to like one of your open houses once upon a time, and some of your college basketball buddies were there, and that's where I didn't even know you played basketball until then. So
I did.
Yeah.
I think I even had a basketball goal outside, didn't I? Was there one there at the time?
Probably.
Actually, there was.
Yeah,
It's in the pictures. I remember seeing it. There's a basketball
I always
goal
play
outside.
big because horses takes too long for me because I'm not that great.
It's funny because some of my guys now, they say that they heard that I used to play basketball. I said, I still play.
I still play.
Yeah, I'll rough you up.
Yeah.
A lot of my guys are younger. So anyways, it's fun to get out there and play a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. So bigger, better movers.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to help anyone stay put and not move?
Like from their physical location?
Yeah. I heard a comedian once, and he's like, hey, my friends asked me to help them move. I go over there and help them stay put because I don't want to help them move.
No, I mean, if you need to move or you're willing to move, we're willing to do it. We don't talk anybody out of staying where they're at. But by the time people call us,
they're
they're
bad idea. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, they've already made up their mind on if they're going to move or not. So,
all right, well, that was a really bad joke. Question we ask everybody: why are you a unicorn?
Man, I think it's almost better if I don't like to talk about myself like that, but I think that I've proven a model of entrepreneurship that continues to be successful, to whatever that means. Find a way to create revenue, to create and establish businesses, and empower people to fulfill their full potential. And so my ability to be able to lead, demonstrate things like that, and again, not do it once, but multiple times, and not just in one business lane, but in multiple verticals, I think will kind of make me special, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I know you as. Are there any other businesses besides Bigger, Better Movers that I don't know about?
Well, I got my real estate company, One Oak. What you don't know, and
I didn't know that. Yeah.
I'll probably publicly announce it before this airs, anyways. But
okay, well, this airs tomorrow.
Okay, no problem.
Just joking.
Keith and I, you know Keith here locally, and Donna, his wife. So we're launching a new property management company.
Awesome.
It's going to be called People Property Solutions. So I'm pretty excited about that. But that'll be launching here. We've got all the legality and everything set up, and should be making an announcement in the next week or so. So it'll be fun.
That's
Thanks.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
We're excited about it.
Yeah. So we usually break for our episode sponsor about this time. But we've actually done a few commercials for Bigger, Better Movers.
Yeah.
And so we're going to play Bigger, Better Movers commercial that we made you. I think we've done 4, something like that. Which one do you want us to play? And then we're going to put the links to all the other ones in the description.
I like the golf one.
Golf?
Yeah.
All right, let's see the golf one. Let's go.
This isn't going to be easy.
Speaking of, do you know how easy it is to book online with Bigger, Better Movers?
How easy?
This easy.
Now that's a game changer.
Go today, biggerbettermovers.com.
So did you make a hole in one?
I did. You saw the video.
It was a hot day. I remember that day.
It was really hot.
Business hacks, life hacks. Which one are you going to start with?
Either one. Business hacks is fine. I think with business hacks, you really got to figure out a way to utilize technology and then also be able to replicate and delegate. And so entrepreneurs a lot of times set sail to, on social media, entrepreneurship is really sexy and it's fun and all this other stuff. But in reality, as you know, that's not real. And so your job as an entrepreneur is not to really give yourself another job, but to be able to remove yourself from the day-to-day operations, because not only do you probably want the financial aspect, but also the time aspect back, whether it's with your family, your dogs, traveling, whatever that is. And so a lot of times we sacrifice our time in exchange for our businesses. So Business hack, find a way to utilize technology to be able to remove yourself from day-to-day operations and give yourself a little bit of your time back from that. And then replicate and delegate, meaning create systems and processes, put people behind those processes you created, find a way to be able to manage or create KPIs to be able to look high level at things, make sure the performance is getting met. Again, to remove yourself from the day-to-day and be able to look at everything from a high-level overview will definitely help you out.
I feel like I got a lot of work to do. What about life hack?
Life hack, take care of yourself first.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
so many times people, whether it's with you being an entrepreneur, or let's say you're an employee or whatever, but we put everything else before we put ourselves first. And there's no way you can take care of anybody else until you fulfill you first. And so every morning, I'm a morning guy when it goes to the gym. I wake up, I like to fast work out, so I don't eat before I work out, but I go take care of Daniel before I ever take care of anything else. I do block scheduling to where I'm not reactive to the world around me. I'm proactive to the world around me. So I set my schedule every single day. Gyms first. Emails, it's a non-money generating activity. I'm not making any money responding to emails, right? So when I'm at home after 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock, I can be on my couch. At that point, I can respond to emails. But me responding to emails during the day when I've got other things going on, it's not going to be something that I put first. So I think in life, to be the best version of you, to give the world the best version of you, you got to take care of you first and the person in the mirror.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with you. I hate hearing people that say oh yeah, I can't do this because of this. I'm like, nah, you got to just stop doing that and go do that other stuff first.
I said something the other day on this other podcast, but it was about the power of no. And because when you say yes to something, by default, you said no to something else, right? So me saying yes to being here, I said no to working out or to attending another meeting or whatever else I got going on. I said yes to this. I think if people in general are more aware of when they say yes to something, they by default say no to everything else. They might be more intentional or strategic on their no's rather than just accepting things because an opportunity presents itself.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than getting up and going, whatever happens today. And that's for the weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
can't live my life. You're not going to be productive. You're going to wake up every single day and keep running this rat race in a circle, and you're never actually going to make progress because you're being reactive to everything around you.
My kids do way better whenever I make them a list.
Yeah.
So then they know, when they get to these other 5 things done, then they can play video games. Don't ask me. All morning, or you know what I mean? You're not playing in the morning.
Another life hack that I do all the time. I have a to-do list in my iPhone, on the phone. You have your notes section. I have a to-do list, and with multiple businesses, a lot of people I'm responsible to, and places I got to go. If there's anybody that gives me information that I have to do something with, as far as an obligation or something very small I have to pay for, or whatever I got to do, I put on my to-do list to make sure I do not miss any tasks that are assigned to me directly. But my to-do list, I use it like my Bible. I open it up every single morning. I look at it, I look at my calendar, and I see what's going on and where, everything's going to fit that day.
Yeah. So we're going to dive into a little bit later in the show about how'd you get to where you're at today.
Yeah.
Because, you're not born with it, right?
That's correct. Definitely not.
As my 11-year-old the other day is do you ever remember not being able to play catch? And he was like, no. I was like, I remember you not being able to play catch.
That's funny.
So you tell me you're born with it? I think I was.
I like the confidence.
What's been your most pivotal part, in Daniel White's life? And then, what's been your most pivotal part in Bigger, Better Movers?
Pivotal part?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What kind of goes, you know what? If this would not have happened, this chain of events wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm going to say this lightly. So, number one, you do not have to go to college to be an entrepreneur.
However, I agree with that. Yeah.
However, with me going to college and the trajectory that I was on, especially in high school, allowed me to view the world as such that I saw different opportunities and perspectives that were never made aware to me the way that I was growing up previously. So a very pivotal part of my life was leaving high school, going to college, and actually being around other people that I didn't grow up with that genuinely cared for me, loved me, showed me something other than just the environment that I had grew up in. So that was a very pivotal part. And then the other question was pivotal regarding business, as a whole, or for Bigger, Better Movers.
Your pick. You pick whatever you want. Both, whatever.
Yeah,
we got all day.
Most pivotal part in business was probably not one particular, but all my failures, like every time that I fail, you always learn more when you fail at something you do when, it's smooth sailing. And so for me, every time that I've taken a hit or I've lost a business, I learn a lot in those valleys. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I take that time to rebound and come back, it's almost like when you cut yourself and you have a scar, that skin is actually stronger than your other skin. And so like every time I get cut and I'm down and I'm bleeding, I come back stronger. I have more tools in my toolbox, right? So now like I know something else that maybe I didn't know before. Mm-hmm. Or I have different people in my corner. I have other things. And so every time I'm in a valley, I come back stronger than when I was before.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's great. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, for sure.
When hiring a moving company for a business or a home, what should I consider?
A lot. Make sure, number one, that they're licensed, right? Make sure they're insured. There's a state website. I'm assuming in all 50 states that you can.
Make sure they're not renting a U-Haul.
Yeah, you can't really see if they're renting a U-Haul or not online, but there is a local transportation site that you can go to be able to check. As far as an interstate license, it's safer.gov is a website you can check for if you're doing any type of interstate commerce to make sure they do have the proper licensing to be able to actually conduct a move. You want to check that first. That's number one. I see people literally all the time on social media. I like to think I'm above board, meaning like I'm not going to disrespect or call somebody out, especially on social media, right? It's just not the platform to do so. But I see people recommending some of my competitors, and I look and I'm like, they're not even licensed, dude. Like, you should be careful who you recommend.
Is that like on someone's like website at the bottom? Is like, or you have to call and go look that up at that
to see if they're see if they're licensed. It's a state website. It's a transportation division.
Okay.
Of the.
It's not like a seal that you can put on your website or anything like that.
No, and
just
honestly,
curious. We're gonna make one.
Okay, that's fine. And no, there's a such thing as rogue movers, right? Like at the federal level, the government does a pretty good job, they crack down often on like rogue movers. But at the state level, you can almost get away with operating below the radar for a very long time. And claim that you're this or that. And again, no names, but there's several of my competitors that do not have an active license. All right. And so again, with that, legality wise, like going back to my insurance days, if you're not even licensed, technically your insurance could deny a claim at the same time. So if a truck flips over, burns up, damages occur, technically that insurance company could deny any claims at the same time, including even work comp. If you hire a company, they get hurt on your property, now that guy broke his leg, you're responsible. They're not even licensed to be there. You hired an independent third party. I mean, so where does liability lie?
So question. And I don't know if you know the answer to this, but it sounds like you might, and you may not want to answer the question. So if my house, all my goods in my house are moving, are you saying that my home insurance covers those goods when getting to the new house?
Good question. This isn't a perfect. Well,
okay.
This is
I mean, so
your insurance coverage usually there's coverage A is dwelling, coverage B is personal property. It covers 10% on average of whatever your coverage B limit is while it's off premise. So for example, your coverage A is $100,000 with your dwelling. If you have good personal property, it's at 75%. So you have $75,000 worth of personal property. Another 10% is covered off premise. So $7,500 less your deductible. So let's say your deductible is $25,000 or $5,000 minus that plus that. Yeah. So still going to be a chargeable loss, which means it's going to go against you in the future, right? But you could also sue the moving company. They should have cargo coverage to be able to cover it.
That was my next question.
Yeah, they should have specific cargo coverage to cover it. And by law, they're supposed to have it at the state and the federal level. But if they don't, you have to go after the company directly and hope that.
So whenever the movers show up to your door, ask for their 2 badges.
And there is no badges. Yeah. There's literally no badges.
You guys should make some badges. Here's our whatever.
That'd be pretty cool.
Like it. Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. Daniel has a very extensive insurance background as well, so
it's been a while.
Yeah, I like it. We haven't even touched. What does bigger, better movers do? Like, what do you guys do? Who do you move? Why do you move them?
Yeah.
Why do your reoccurring? I'm sure you have some reoccurring clients. Why do they call you back?
Yeah. So we provide moving services for commercial and residential moving services anywhere in the state of Oklahoma from origin and or destination. So meaning we have our interstate license. We can move you to or from Oklahoma City, Tulsa area and or metro. So if you move from California here, from here to California, vice versa, whatever, we can do it. If it's a local move in Atlanta, we're not going to be competitive and we don't have a physical location there.
Makes sense.
We
Yeah.
utilize technology to reduce friction in the buying process. We have a better budget tool that allows consumers to actually get a rate online up front with no personal information. So basically you go in, type in some quick information as far as
Get a quote
home
online.
size, boom. Literally with less than 60 seconds, we will provide you some type of initial estimate, which moving estimates suck because you physically have to call 3 different companies. First, you got to ask for referrals. Then you got to look at reviews. Then you got to see which ones you may consider doing business
Guess
with.
who's insured.
Then
Yeah.
then you got to do your research there.
Yeah.
Then you got to repeat your same story 3 different times. With less than 60 seconds, you go on, click some buttons. We'll provide you an initial estimate that'll at least kind of let you know probably what the rate's going to be. Doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
going to be exact, but at least give you a quick ballpark.
Yeah.
And then if you need more information, you can either book online. A member of our team will call you within 24 hours, or you can just call our office and we'll talk over the phone as well.
What was your business like before you created that quote tool?
Just like everybody else's,
Yeah.
it's just a
grind, right?
It's a laborious process.
Yeah.
Like the sales process in moving, average call is 13 to 17 minutes. I got to get all the initial information. Then we got to talk through logistics.
Same questions over and
pricing.
over.
It's so much stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And human behavior is predictable. That's why algorithms work so well, right? But the customer's going to call. They're going to ask the same 5 or 10 questions. You got to go over all that. If they decide to make a reservation or they need to call you back or talk to their significant other, whatever's going on. And then you got to do all the data entry and create the reservation and all that. And it doesn't sound like much, but with 2 locations and, you're doing maybe booking 8 to 10 different people a day, it takes a lot of time.
Oh, wait
to
a
do
second.
so.
We need to reschedule the move, right?
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then logistics with weather as well, right? We just dealt with that hard freeze, and all the jobs you currently have all have to be rescheduled and accommodated on the schedule for a future date. So it's a lot.
I have a sidebar question that
Sure.
I'm just interested in. What's the heaviest thing you've ever moved?
There was this. So weed is legal here in Oklahoma, and all these weed shops started calling us for moving services. And this guy bought like $1 million weed processing machine.
Okay.
I have no idea how heavy it was, but we backed 2 trucks up and used pallet jacks to put one end on each of the lift gates and lift up at the same time. And it took like 8 or 10 of our guys to get this deal. We probably shouldn't have done it.
Into the other
We
one.
probably shouldn't have done it. We did it. We kind of shy away from some of that stuff now, obviously, but
Okay.
it was risky, and we got it done. But that was probably one of the heaviest things.
I was waiting for the answer of like, this guy had this huge safe.
We do those all the time,
Yeah.
no big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
hot tub
curious.
safes. They're heavy, but we have the equipment and the experience to be able to do so.
I think one of the most magical things about moving is those little like slider feet you put on things.
Yeah.
Those are so cool.
We don't use those at all. Those will scratch your floor, but
Dang
yeah,
it. Yeah. Well, anyways.
If you're pushing something around your home and it's your house, maybe. Yeah.
On the carpet. I don't even know how they work.
Yeah.
I just think they're cool whenever you do it. You're like, yeah, I'm moving this heavy thing. You're like, yeah. Okay. All right. I told you it was a sidebar. So how hard have you worked to create your company? Like, how'd you get to this point?
Very, right? I think with anybody who's been in
Wasn't given to you,
entrepreneurship,
right?
Yeah, if you've been in entrepreneurship for any amount of time, at minimum a year, but especially 5+. I've been self-employed for 10 years in multiple different businesses I've owned, but it's hard to get to where you're at, and each business grows a little bit, whether with people or revenue or something like that, which is good. It means you're on an upward trajectory, but a lot of nights, you got to figure it out. When the phone's not ringing, how do you generate sales? Got to get back out there, hit the ground, start knocking on doors. But that's what people don't see, is when the phone's not ringing. A lot of people just think that, you start a business, you get a phone number, and you make a social media post, and customers are just going to start coming in, and that's not reality. Reality is you have to have value in the marketplace. Aside from, I'm a local business, I'm a black-owned business, I'm a woman-owned. Consumers care about convenience. They don't care about we're locally owned, and they don't. Amazon's a perfect example. You don't know who Jeff Bezos is. You're not friends with him.
Right.
You do business with Amazon because the next day, same day delivery and the convenience to be able to purchase online. Like, it's a lot of competition out there. So, for us, and, there's 64 licensed movers in the state, and I know that because it's, again, posted online. But how do I differentiate myself from 63 other movers? And then, majority of the move, I think about 65% of moves are actually done done personally. Like you'll rent your own U-Haul and call your own buddies and do it. So of everybody moving, we only got about 35 to 40% of people of the marketplace. And then between Oklahoma City and Tulsa, divvied up between 63 other movers.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a constant challenge just being out there, being competitive, and making sure too, we have a lot of really good reviews on Google. I look at not only my competitors, but just other businesses. You know, Oklahoma City, we're at 4.7 stars, almost probably 800 reviews. And then Tulsa is 4.9 and 100 something reviews. That's my newest location. But
a little over a year, I think.
Yeah,
or maybe a year. Okay.
A little
in
over
Tulsa.
a year. Correct. Yeah. And so a lot of people don't understand that, like, if somebody calls my company, you don't even know who I am for the most part. Most people don't. They just find the company online. They assess our reviews. So many times my sales guy is on a call and he says, yeah, they hired us just because of our reviews. Some people say, we read every single one of them. Every one of them.
Yeah.
And I like the story of how you guys responded to like this negative one. I think one thing the businesses don't do, they almost shoot themselves in the foot, is they don't respond to all their reviews or the negative ones.
Yeah.
Don't just respond to the positive ones and act like the negative ones
Don't
aren't there.
exist because they're there.
I promise you, when consumers are making a buying decision, and the reality is you never know how many people do not engage with you at all because they simply were another visit on the website and then bounced. But you never know the reason behind it, and or went to another company and called because of maybe your lack of response or something. Because what's going to happen when they have an issue or a claim or damage? Are they not going to be heard or listened to? Stuff like that. So
you said that you've been a part of other companies or had other companies, and I mean, it seems like Bigger Better Movers is doing pretty good. They're not a startup anymore, right?
Yeah,
I would assume. Why did you pick moving? Like, family of movers, or like why moving?
So
because I think I know the story, but I think our audience needs to hear why moving. Like, why did you go this route?
Long story short, I started a tech company. It was called Insurance Insight. Anyways, I was in insurance before that. Started like a lead generation company called Insurance Insight, similar to Home Advisor, Thumbtack, Angie Leads, whatever. We connected consumers with agents in the area. Unfortunately, I miscalculated customer acquisition costs, meaning even though I wasn't specifically selling insurance, I competed with the same keyword for like State Farm and Liberty Mutual and AAA and Travelers. And so average cost per click for insurance was about $125, $150 per click. It's not even a conversion. So to get a conversion, it costs over $1,000. I was selling that lead and made maybe about $90 off of it. I didn't figure that out until we were like 9 months into Insurance Insight. I ended up pulling the plug, sold everything I had, and I had to basically reconvene and figure out how to generate revenue. And so when I looked around at my past experience and kind of who I knew and things like that, I used to be part of a brewery for a little bit, and I knew I didn't like product-based businesses so much because even pre-COVID, there were supply chain issues.
You got to store it. You got
to stock it. Storage. You got to
track
hops
it.
in.
You got to track it.
Pack tech lids, everything. The labeling. It's a process.
I drove by a bread truck the other day, and I was like, I am so glad I don't sell bread.
There's so much that goes into like a product-based business, because they got to get the zip ties, they got to get the plastic, they got to get the grain, everything. It's going to be made. It's a lot. So I determined I want to be in a service-based business. Okay, I looked around and said, well, what experience do you have and who do you know? Being in insurance for 5 years, the people that I did know were all involved around real estate transactions. So realtors, mortgage loan officers, insurance agents, roofers, all these people. And what I was thinking was like, where can I fit in the real estate market to provide a service that people are willing to pay for, that people don't like to do. And I tried moving. The risk was nominal for the simple fact that with tech, if it didn't work, I lost all my money. Right. No assets. You just lose it. With moving, it was a hedge bet, because if I bought a truck, that's 90% of my original capital investment. So if it didn't work, sell the truck, at least I lost a little bit of money and not a lot of money.
So you were doing the moving in the beginning?
Yeah, to start. I mean, I did sales, operations, driver, loader, I did it all. And I knew I had to get started. That I didn't have capital and resources on my side initially to be able to start this business. And so I had to do the hard work. And sometimes I still have to, but we got a really good team and we got processes and hierarchy and stuff in place for that not to have to happen. But occasionally we get busy or something, I'll roll my sleeves up and get out there too. And the guys know that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I try to do the same thing around here too. So I'll talk about myself too much. So, so you worked hard to create the company. And there's something that you said earlier, but it made me think of the Maserati. So Daniel White drives a Maserati. Go look at the commercials. I think it's the one where we're walking through the neighborhood. The Maserati's in there, right? Yeah. I only bring it up because I heard someone say Daniel drives a Maserati because of this, and I want to see if it aligns with what I was told. Why do you drive a Maserati?
It's kind of like, for me, I wear a nice watch when I'm out, or a nice sport coat, but the perception of the person that drives the car, I'm allowed to walk in certain rooms because of the networks that I already have, but it builds and adds on to your credibility. When you pull up, I have a Honda as well, and I drive a Honda. Yeah. But if I'm going to a specific event or a networking event, sure, I would prefer to drive the Maserati because of the perception that it perceives. Like, I went to a networking event yesterday, and I went there in sweats. I went to beer club. Okay. But I just left the gym because I take care of myself first. I left the gym, and I know those guys, and I know that since I'm already established and respected in that room, they wouldn't look at me any different if I wore my sweats there. They already know who I am. So that's okay. But if I'm going into a new room, I'm going to make sure I am dressed well, and my car and everything is well put together. So, and people want to do business with you a little bit more. Just like, again, if I walk in with the suit and stuff, people seek me out more. I was at Gallardia one time at an event, and I walked in with a full suit. And before I left, the guy told me, he said, man, when you walked in the room, I saw how sharp you were. I didn't know who you were or what you did, but I wanted to talk to you. Yeah. It's great. I mean, he was another business owner, high-level guy, and I'm glad we got to connect. And if it wasn't for the way that my appearance was at the time, we probably never would have connected.
Network through dressing.
Yeah. There was, and I still remember to this day, a guy called me out one time because he knew that my tie, he worked at, I don't know, some like regular, like, for lack of better terms, like Ross or something like that. And he sold ties, and he was like, that's a cheap tie. He knew it, but honestly, it made me self-conscious. I was like, oh, so you can tell. Okay. This when I was young. And I just started wearing ties, like, you can tell. And then as I've started to, like, buy nicer clothes, I can tell quick. I'm like, oh, and it doesn't matter. That's very shallow.
Yeah,
but
I got you. You develop an eye for it.
Yeah, you develop an eye for it, and you can see who the sharpest dressed person in the room is sometimes, or maybe the person you really want to talk to, based on, like, oh, that's a silk suit, or that's handmade, or I mean,
can I touch it?
I don't care to touch it. I'd like to maybe wear one like it, but
what size is that? Yeah, very cool. Well, the story I heard is Daniel White drives Maserati because he wants to be, and he wants everyone to know that they can do anything they want. Well, that's what I see when I see the Maserati. I'm like, I can do anything I want. Look at Daniel. Yeah. Anyways, looks like I have a repeat question in here. All right.
Get rid of that one.
What actions do you want our viewers to take? Like, so follow you guys on social media and all. We're going to have a link to all those in the description. But what?
I mean, we're a locally owned small business, so we always appreciate referrals. Give us a like on social media, follow.
Send them a message, tell them that you see them here.
Yeah, please.
Can't beat that.
Holler at my boy Jimmy if you ever need any type of commercial services, things like that. You guys do a great job for us. If you haven't seen, you will see them in the links.
That's right.
And they are professional. Jimmy knows that whenever I approach you, I said I don't want them to look local. Yeah, they got to look big. And you know what? Every time somebody sees him and they look at him, they say, "Man, that looks like a real national commercial."
Oh yeah,
and they do.
Yeah, thank you.
You're good at what you do, so
appreciate it. Well, it's funny to say. So we've recently improved some of our cameras.
Okay.
And if we reshot those the same way, they will look even better.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Anyways,
the average person probably wouldn't know, but
it's like wearing the suits. It's like knowing, the suits. Like true. We can. It's the same concept. Like we can tell. Like, oh, that was a shot in S-Log and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like we can tell. Okay. And I think the viewers, just like the suit concept or whatever, whenever someone walks in, you're like, man, that same thing with the video. Sense. Yeah, with these new cameras, you're like, this looks really good. Don't know why, but it does.
We're due for another commercial then.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
No, man. I appreciate you having me on the show. Yeah. Anybody can follow me. LinkedIn and Facebook's just Daniel White, and then Instagram's DWhite_405. So
okay.
Love to connect. Always like opportunities and things like that. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that up because I do have a last question for you.
Sure.
Because I do follow Daniel on social media. He posts a lot of food photos. Do you cook a lot?
I do. I'm a personal chef, man.
Yeah?
Like I say that for me, but yeah, I'm plant-based, so I really don't eat meat. And
Okay.
I enjoy having like color in my dishes, like a bunch of different flavors and variety, and experiment with different stuff. I didn't start to cook until I actually moved into my own house, away from my mom, and then you got to fend for yourself.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I actually enjoy it.
So then I have to ask Daniel this.
Okay.
Are they box dinners that you're buying that are delivered on your door, or okay?
I do the real deal.
All right.
Everything's fresh. Yeah, I just made like some sauteed like maple mushrooms the other day as a side dish to some pasta. It was really good. But yeah, I like experimenting with stuff. I don't do any like freezer food, anything like that.
Where are you getting your recipes from? You just make it up.
I do. Like the pasta I
Okay.
made the other day, I called it pasta especial. Like I literally, they just come to my head. They come to my head.
Yeah.
I put them in my notes, and I literally have like
Oh, yeah,
breakfast,
yeah.
lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
Like vegan, vegetarian recipes, vegan recipes, whatever.
Yeah.
But I have them in my notes. I put all my ingredients on there, how I cooked it, whatever. Some of them I do. I just Google.
We'll talk about a little bit later. This guy's going to come on the show. There's a local restaurant around here that does all vegan that I'm going to go check out. I don't know if you've.
Do you know the name of it?
I can't remember the name of it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll look it up after this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave the comment with your business name and what you guys do, and we'll see you next time. Thanks,
Peace.
man.
Thanks, man.